engaged in is covert activity. And I'd like to ask...
Wartime code breakers. This technology is deeply steeped. The substrate itself has military origins. I think it's worth remembering that if we're considering the forms, the unusual mutations in which a war on the internet would take. William Gibson, who I frequently quote, probably far too often, I'll paraphrase one of his pithy observations on this, is that if the military-industrial complex had known what this medium was going to become, a global peace and democracy movement that is in some forms already post-national, they probably would have strangled it at birth. They wouldn't necessarily have let this particular cat out of the bag, but they did. And as much as the worst of humanity is present in this medium, as you would expect, it reflects really all of the different dimensions of the human condition. It also reflects the best of us, and I think that is what we're come together today to work out how to defend. And I'm glad that we pinched the title of Bernard's book, which I would also add my voice in strongly recommending, in really stamping a military metaphor right on top of this thing. In Australia, the war on the internet, for many of the folk gathered here, probably including me, it's about surveillance, it's about occasional harassment, it's about documentation and data retention, and all of the things that the other speakers have spoken of, and that Jacob in particular, in his terrifying and lucid and quite funny presentations, will talk about as well.
I wonder, maybe we can all stand up for a second. So you guys all look up. I'm the hippie from California. Everybody do a little bit of yoga. And when you're ready, sit down. Don't hurry. So I guess, I'm not really one for preparing speeches beforehand. So I just took some things that have been a theme while I've been here, things that I've talked about with other people have said to me, things that my friends that are software people here have expressed to me, or EFA people. And so first, I want to start by saying thanks to the good senator, the good honorable senator, because he loves it when I embarrass him about this, but he actually wrote me an invitation letter to ensure that if I came through Australian customs and I had some trouble, that I would be able to say, hey, don't fuck with me. Everybody's on board with the expansion of police powers, and maybe it's all right to speak freely about the right to speak freely. I think that's really important, and I mean, if you're not a Greens voter, you should fix your shit and vote for the Greens. I mean, if we had a Green Party that actually mattered in the United States in a really big way, that could make the kind of change that would do things like that, I would be quite humbled by it, actually. I don't really feel like that's the case, so you should really take advantage of that privilege that you have and maybe have a couple more Greens if you can. But that said, I'd also like to thank the EFA, these guys in front, Andrew Pam especially, during the time when people were debating the internet filter, and afterwards, Andrew actually gave me access to machines in Australia to look at the censorship directly, so that when people asked me about it, I could have an informed opinion about it based on facts gathered from his account, which if you think about it, he gave me a shell on his machine in Australia, and he's like, please don't get my house raided. I mean, it was good that he was willing to take that risk, but it's quite sad to think that those are the stakes. That just a simple IP address and a log will get guys with guns